Human beings have spent most of history trying to survive nature, survive each other, and survive their own stupidity. But every once in a while, a society emerges that somehow, against all odds, manages to treat people almost the same. Let me explain why the societies in human history weren't what you think, and why they didn't last. When we talk about equal societies, most people imagine Scandinavian welfare states, or some utopian commune where people shared toothbrushes and emotional trauma. But equality, real equality, is older than agriculture, older than writing, older than the idea of my land or your land. For most of human existence, equality wasn't a political project. It was a survival strategy. And the moment humans stopped needing it, they abandoned it instantly. To understand the most equal societies ever created, you have to go back, way back, to a time before kings, before corporations, before landlords, before that one guy in the group project who does nothing but still gets an A. I'm talking about hunter-gatherers. These were societies where no one owned land, no one hoarded food, no one could force you to do anything, and the richest person in the tribe had a slightly nicer stick. But here's the problem. The moment humans invented farming, metal, and storage, equality died faster than a startup after its Series A funding round. So let's break down the few societies that actually achieved equality, and why they disappeared. For 95% of human history, humans lived in small groups of 20 to 150 people. These societies were shockingly equal by modern standards. Why? Because you can't flex on people when everything spoils in 48 hours. Meat goes bad, berries rot, tools break, and if you try to hoard anything, the tribe just leaves you behind. Anthropologists call this reverse dominance hierarchy. If someone tried to act like a king, everyone else teamed up to bully them back into humanity. Imagine a society where the moment you brag about your new spear, 30 people roasted you until you apologize. That was equality. But this equality wasn't moral. It was ideological. It was practical. You can't have billionaires when the economy is whatever we find today. Fast forward a few thousand years. Agriculture existed. Cities existed. Inequality is everywhere. The Iroquois Confederacy, a coalition of indigenous nations in North America, built something different. They had shared land, consensus-based politics, women with enormous political power, redistribution of food and resources, and most importantly, no one could accumulate enough wealth to dominate others. Their system was so effective that early American colonists studied it. Some of the ideas in the US Constitution were literally borrowed from them. But again, this equality wasn't perfect. It required constant negotiation, cultural pressure, and a worldview that rejected individual accumulation. The moment European-style markets entered the region, inequality exploded. Ancient Athens is often romanticized as the birthplace of democracy. And yes, for the citizens who counted, political equality was real. But here's the catch. Only about 10 to 20% of the population was considered a citizen. Woman? No. Slave? Absolutely not. Foreigners? Try again. So Athens was equal, the same way a group chat is equal, only for the people inside of it. Still, within that group, the idea of isonomia, equality before the law, was revolutionary, but it was fragile. The moment Athens became wealthy, powerful, and imperialistic, equality eroded. Every equal society in history faced the same three problems. Surpluses. The moment you could store food, wealth, or resources, someone will store more than everyone else. And the moment someone has more, they have power. And the moment they have power, they use it. Specialization. When people start doing different jobs, some jobs become more valuable. Suddenly, the warrior matters more than the gatherer. The priest matters more than the farmer. The merchant matters more than the craftsman. Equality dies the moment someone's labor becomes worth more. 3. Scale. Equality works in groups of 50. It barely works in groups of 500. It collapses in groups of 50,000. The bigger the society, the harder it is to maintain fairness. Institutions form. Hierarchies emerge. Power concentrates. And once power concentrates, it never voluntarily spreads out again. Let's get into some case studies. The Jew Huanzi of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer groups on Earth. They shared everything. They mock anyone who brags. They made decisions collectively. And when modern markets entered their regions, inequality appeared almost instantly. Another one, medieval Iceland. For a brief period, Iceland had no king, no aristocracy, no centralized governments, just farmers, assemblies, and negotiated laws. It worked until wealth concentrated in a few families. Then the whole system collapsed. The final society that we'll go over is the kibbutzim. 20th century Israel created communal living groups where everyone earned the same, everyone shared property, everyone rotated jobs. It worked for decades. Then globalization happened. People wanted more autonomy, more income, more choice. Equality faded. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Equality is not humanity's natural state, but neither is inequality. Humans oscillate between the two depending on environment, technology, scarcity, and incentives. When resources are scarce and mobility is high, equality thrives. When resources are abundant and stationary, inequality thrives. Equality isn't a moral achievement. It's an environmental condition. So what does this mean for us? It means that every society we admire for being equal was shaped by forces outside of ideology. Hunter-gatherers were equal because they had to be. The Iroquois were equal because their culture enforced it. Kibbutzim were equal because they isolated themselves from markets. Equality is fragile. It requires constant maintenance. And the moment incentives change, it dissolves. The most equal societies in human history weren't the richest, the biggest, or the most advanced. They were the ones that understood a simple truth. If you want equality, you have to fight your own instincts and everyone else's. With that being said, do your own research, read some books, and for the love of God, don't try to start a commune unless you're ready to argue about dishes for the next 40 years.